Hello everyone. So today we will discuss about the virtual thread, and we are talking about the virtual thread in Spring Boot 3.2. That means how we are going to use virtual thread in any Spring Boot application for boosting the performance of the applications. Okay. So if we talked about the this virtual threads, so in the recent release of this Spring Boot 3.2, this is a feature of this new feature. Basically, this is the one of the main feature of this Spring Boot 3.2 new release. Okay, this is the virtual thread supporting in a Spring Boot. The focus of this release actually implementation, basically virtual thread, that actually boosting the performance of the applications. Okay, let's say like if we are doing some kind of the non-blocking operations, like maybe there is one applications. From that application, if we are calling some another API from other microservices which is blocking kind of HTTP call, then so those are blocking calls. Obviously it will take some time, because those are, if we are talked about the normal scenarios, then it will take some time, right? Even if we are doing some database calls, and also sending some communication related things like SMS or maybe emails, so in those scenarios it will basically take some times in time, right, without virtual thread if we are working. So uh, like for so this is the feature that virtual thread for improve the efficiency during this runtime. Okay, so here I'm going to explain about the significance of virtual thread and how we are going to integrate with Java version 21 for development, smoother development, and improve the performance. Okay, so like uh, in Spring MVC applications traditionally basically operate on a thread per request model, right? Means whenever any request come, then one thread and maybe multiple, that depends how we are going to defining the things. So based on that, it's basically work thread per request model. So when basically any client trying to communicate in any Java applications, a thread basically spawned and to handle the request, right? So this kind of thread basically called the platform thread. So these are basically platform things. These are dependent on the hardware, right? Means how many cores we are having in a system. So based on that, this platform thread or maybe OS thread, those are dependent. But issue arises, as I said earlier, the issue can arise when we are performing some blocking operations such as database calls, HTTP service request, or maybe some sending the notifications, or maybe trying to integrate any third-party APIs. So that basically will downgrade or maybe decrease the throughput of the our applications. Okay, so this is the things basically. So for improving these things, this virtual thread will come to the picture. So how we are going to use this one, so that I will talk in the later part. For using this virtual thread in Spring Boot application, the minimum, there is some kind of minimum requirement is required. So for that, Java 21 is basically support this one, and Spring Boot 3.2 release this virtual thread support. Okay, so these are the basically things that uh, we need to support virtual thread. Now if we talked about the what is virtual thread, okay, as I said, this virtual thread introduced in Java 21 JDK level, and it's provide the solution to challenges as we are facing sometimes in our traditional threads like OS thread or maybe platform threads. So unlike the platform threads, virtual thread offers its illusions of infinite scalability. Okay, so these threads are virtual threads are very lightweight threads and capable of performing tasks independently, eliminating the need to tie themselves off a platform threads. Basically, nowadays in traditionally, those threads are basically tie up with the OS threads, but here virtual threads basically eliminating the needs to tie themselves to a platform threads. Virtual thread basically sign when handling the blocking operations such as like HTTP servers calls, like database calls, or maybe some third API's integration calls. Okay, so I hope and also I explain this virtual thread in detail, like how we are going to create the virtual thread, what is in like detail. But here I'm trying to just little bit of demonstrate before creating the project and demonstrating that how you're going to use this virtual thread in a Spring Boot applications. So if you want to like learn about the more about this virtual thread, I will share that link in my description section so that you guys can check those things before like just if you want to understand about the more detail about the virtual thread. Okay, now if we talked about this how this virtual thread is actually it's trying to call the platform thread. So here like above of the platform thread, basically here we can create multiple virtual thread. So there's no dependencies on hardware. We don't need to increase our hardware dependencies for creating the virtual thread. There's no limitations. We can create any number of virtual thread, and that particular virtual thread we talking with the platform thread, and then it will basically talk with this OS thread. Okay, so this is the kind of architecture that how the virtual thread basically looks like. So this is the things about this virtual thread. The next things is that like why we use this virtual thread in Spring. So virtual thread basically offers uh, scalable solution without without what we can say without increasing the hardware physical hardware needs, right? Basically the threads are depends how many cores we are having in our system, and those are dependent on the hardware. Means how many cores we are having, how how many rams, how memory is there. So based on that it's basically having. But in case of the virtual thread, these are not dependence on this one. By decoupling from the platform threads, application can spawn thousands of or even millions of virtual threads to perform the tasks concurrently. Okay, so this is the things that is why we are going to use this virtual thread in our Spring Boot applications. Okay, so next what we will do, we will create two applications, two microservices basically, Spring Boot applications. One applications we are going to call another microservices, which will be a kind of blocking call. So what we will try, we will create two applications. First of all, we will try without virtual thread and we'll see the performance. We'll do the kind of NFR, means we'll perform some kind of the load testing with some threads level maybe 40 or 50, and then we will see like without virtual thread how much time it is taking, and with virtual thread it will improve the performance or not. So okay, so next we will create those application and we will also we will run the load testing so that we can understand the how this virtual thread can improve the performance of the Spring Boot application in case of the any if we are using any blocking operations. Okay, so without further any delay, we can create the project. Let's do the project and do the load testing. So we need to create the like two projects. So for creating the project in Spring project, basically we can directly create project from the Spring initializer. So you can just type this site and from there you can create those things. As a dependency you can choose like opted for the either Maven or Gradle, whatever you feel like. Then language is Java. So Spring Boot minimum version is 3.2 is required, so I'm using this 3.3.1. Okay, and then you can choose the project metadata jar and you need to choose this Java 21. Okay, and then as a dependencies we need to use just either you can choose the Lombok or not, that is not mandatory, but Spring Web basically we need because we are going to create some controller over here, and then we need to import. Okay, so once it then you can just click on this generate one, and after generate you need to import this project into your favorite editor, whatever editor you are going to use. You can means you need to choose the artifact name for this one, like maybe I have choose like vt hyphen I will going to create two applications. One is the virtual thread order applications, another one is the virtual order payment application. Okay, so you guys can create any microservices, any Spring Boot project. There's a no means there's a no rules. So just for demonstrating this one, I'm going to create this one. Okay, so I have already created this project and also like imported over here that you can see like vt hyphen order and vt hyphen payment. Okay, so these are the already I have created over here. So next, like what we will do, like this is will be the primary application, this order, and this particular order service will internally call this payment service. Okay, so what we'll going to do, we'll create one controller over here, and that particular, from that particular controller we are going to create another REST APIs that is called the payment API. Okay, so before going to the, like creating the controller, what we will do, we need to just define the port over here. So this, for the order applications we are defining the port is 8080, and for this application we are defining the port is 8081. Okay, so these are the like port details for this one. Okay, so next what we will do, we will create the controller first. So in the payment application, let me create one controller over here. So let me create this one, like payment controller, payment controller. Okay, and here we are going to create one like API. So for that we need to annotate this class, as it will be a REST controller. So we can annotate, we need to annotate this class with the REST controller, and over here we need to like use this, even it is also not required, request mapping. Okay, so next what we will do, we will create one get API. Then like we will call this particular method get mapping, and let's say public void get payment details. Okay, okay, so next what we will do, we will we can put some mapping over here, like slash get payment. Okay, and here what we will do, we will can like put some sleep over here. Okay, because whenever we are going to call this one, so we will put some thread, means we need to put some sleep, so that we can do the exactly, we can understand for 2 second, 2000 millisecond means 2 second. So it will throw some exception. So let me throw this one interrupted exception, that is fine. Okay, and next maybe we can put some log over here. So for that we can either, we can use slf4j. Okay, it is not over here. Okay, so either I can, what I can do, I can use the lombok over here, lombok. Okay, so here we go, we can use this lombok, and here we can use that, maybe log4j is there, let me check. Yeah, log4j2, this we can use. So here we can put some log. Okay, so what log we are going to put over here, maybe like sleep for this something like that. Okay, and then here, from here we can maybe return some string just to print in the log. Okay, and here we can change the return type. Okay, so this is done, like payment controller. So next what we will do, in the order details, here we are going to create another controller. Okay, here we are going to create another controller, and let's say it's a order controller. Okay, means and from here it will be a like this controller, it will be a request REST controller, because it will be behave as a REST controller. And here we are going to create one mapping, like get order details. Okay, so we can create another mapping, get mapping, and let's say the path will be like get payment details. Okay, and here we can like create the method public, let's say return type will be string, get payment, get order details. Okay, okay, so how we are going to, now we need to call this method from here to the like payment controller. So for that, basically how you are going to call this one? So for that we need to use some REST client. Using the REST client we can call the any API. So we need to use this file and final REST client, and we are going to use this constructor injection over here. And in a constructor injection, basically we can initialize. Okay, so either we can use this public, then order controller. Here we are going to create this order controller, and then here basically we need to use this REST client dot builder. Okay, here we are going to use this REST client dot builder, and here REST this dot REST client is to builder dot base URL. So what will be the base URL? The base URL will be http colon slash localhost colon 8081. The port is 8081 we have defined, right? And then we can use the build, so that REST client is now ready. Okay, so from here basically we can use REST client dot get, okay, dot, here we need to pass the URI. So what will be the URI? The URI will be, let me check, the API path is the get payment. Okay, so here we need to pass this get payment, and then dot retrieve dot to entity. Okay, what is the entity? Like it will return as a string dot class, and then dot get body. Okay, and if we return this, it will basically return the string from over here. So here we are ready now. So here we can also use some kind of the logger over here. So let me import this logger. Okay, here we are not using this like uh, what we can say, we are not using the lombok, so that's why it's causing issues. So let me add add another logger over here. Even it is also not required, we can directly return this success over here, that is also fine. But if we print the, we need to print some like thread name, so due to this it's required. So let me add the one logger over here. Okay, uh, so this logger we can add from this log4j. Get logger, and this order controller dot name, sorry, dot class. Okay, okay, we can import this slf4j, then it will not causing an issue. Okay, so here basically we can then, if we want to print the thread name, then basically we need to store the result in a string, and then here we need to uh, from here basically we need to print this log something like here this is the result and this is the thread name, and from here we can return this result. Okay, okay, so here we are returning the result. So this is actually now for this is fine. So currently what we have done, we have just created two Spring Boot application and created two API. like for one API over here in the payment controller and another API for the in the order controller. From the order controller, we are internally calling this service that payment controller, and from the payment controller we are expecting it will return the success result, and that we are printing over here, and also from here also we are returning the result. So now if we want to test this one, so first of all we need to run this application. Okay, first of all we need to want to start this application, both application, so that we can access those things. So order application should start, and side by side I'm also starting this payment application. Both applications should start. Okay, you can see that virtual thread VT payment application is starting, but meantime also you can see that order application got started and the port is 8081, right? Payment, sorry, it's a payment application and it started 8081, and order application is started on 8080 port. Now if we want to try to get the details, now if we want to like what actually application we are going to access, so we are going to access this get payment details API. Okay, so from the browser we can see like it is returning the success or not. Okay, so here you can see that localhost 8080 get payment details. If I enter, then you can see we are getting the result over here. Okay, and also in the log we can see we are getting the success, and this is the thread, is the main thread. Okay, success on thread, this is the neo HTTP neo 8080 port, and this is the main thread. If we see the payments log, so here also you can see it's like sleep for the 200 millisecond, 2000 millisecond. Okay, not 200, 2000 millisecond. So now we will do some kind of the load testing. Okay, because like otherwise we are not able to understand the performance wise. So how we are going to do the load testing, or maybe how we are going to check with multiple threads. So for that, here I am going to use the JMeter for running this API get payment details multiple time, right? So let me show you how you are going to check this one. So one more point basically we need to add over in the properties file. Uh, in a default basically HTTP calls are supported 200, but due to the limitations of resources in my systems, we need to we need to bounded the use of the thread at time. So for that basically we need to use some properties. So just restricted that how many threads we need to call at a time. So for that we need to use this property like server.tomcat.threads.max equals to 10. That means at a time it will allow only 10 threads. Okay, so now basically we need to stop these applications and again we need to restart, so that we can again we will check like we need to do the load testing. Okay, so once it will start, then again we will do the load testing for this one. So you can see the Tomcat and the Spring Boot application got started. Now if we start this application, so you can see the result over here, and also you can see the summary results. So it will take some time, not much, only we are having the 40 request. So let me clear this again and let me rerun it again, because first time it took some time because the readiness of and all the things. So just to clarify and all the things. Okay, so you can see for the 40 request it took average time is 4.7. Okay, so 4.7, and it's around actually 20 seconds, right? So now, so that means this is the normal thread actually. Okay, we are not enabling the virtual thread over here. It's a like normal thread if we allow, so that it's taken this time. Now what we'll do next, we need to enable the virtual thread over here. So for enabling the virtual thread into the existing application, what we will do, we need to add another property over here. So let me add this one, like spring.threads.virtual.enable equals to true. If we add this property into our application.properties file, then automatically it will enable the virtual thread into our system. We don't need to do anything else over here. It will automatically taken care all the things. So next what we will do, we need to run the same scenarios, same test cases with with this only this adding this property just to enable the virtual thread. So now you will see the difference. I've already restarted the application. Once it will start, then we will again rerun our load test from the J meter so that we can get the details for it. So if you guys are not aware of the J meter and how you're going to run those things, so I will put the one links related to the J meter so that you guys can get some basic idea that what is the purpose of J meter. This is only used for the load testing. Now in the meantime, VT order application is already started. Now we can run the same similar kind of like things from J meter. Let me clear this one. Now let me restart the application. Let me rerun this again. Okay. So in summary report, we can see the results. Let me clear this again, and again I need to rerun so that we can get the actual things over here. So now you can see for the 40 request, the average time is 2.5. Okay, so now from here 2.5. Okay, so you can see it's around 8.8 to 9 seconds. Previously only the normal thread, it was taking that 20 seconds, but after enabling the virtual thread with the same run, same test case run, we are getting the only it's take only the 8 to 9 seconds. So you can see the difference. There is a lot of difference right here. So this is the basically things that uh, how like the thing is basically work. Okay, and how like this enabling this virtual thread boost the system performance, application performance. So this is the beauty of enabling the virtual thread into our system. But when we are going to use, if we are having some kind of blocking kind of things, then over there we can use this virtual thread. So this is overall things that how we are going to, even for enabling the virtual thread, we don't need to do any complex things, right? Only we just need to add this property into our application so that it will enable the virtual thread. So this is overall the things of that how this virtual thread basically works, and how we are going to enable this virtual thread into the existing applications so that we can boost the performance of our Spring Boot applications. Still, if you guys are having anything, please do let me know in the comment section so that I will get the details that what kind of problem you are facing, so that I'll try to cover those up in my next tutorial. Okay, I will put the I will put this code into the GitHub and also share that link in the description section. Also, as I mentioned earlier, the virtual thread related, I have already one tutorial in my channel, so I'll also share that link, as well as with that also JMeter link in the description section. I hope it's clear to you all, you guys, and please don't forget to subscribe my channel. Please press the bell icon for further notifications. Okay, and thanks for your time basically, and see you in my next video. Bye bye.